I'm Robert Massey, and I'm here from the Royal Astronomical Society, which is one of the biggest astronomical organisations in the world, and we look after the interests of astronomers, not just in the UK, but across the world. What I'm going to do today is give you a few pointers to get you started in astronomy, which I think is one of the most incredibly interesting subjects there is. Uranus is the second most distant planet from the Sun. It's a really long way away, twice as far as Saturn, and it's quite hard to spot with the eye. It's just at the threshold of visibility, and perhaps it's for that reason that we didn't know about it until 1781, when it was discovered by the astronomer William Herschel using a telescope from his back garden in the city of Bath in southwest England. And we now know that it's a fairly big world, not as big as Jupiter and Saturn, but nonetheless a good size, quite a few times the size of the Earth. And it has an atmosphere of hydrogen, helium and methane, these are very light gases, and its own retinue of moons. It also has its own very faint ring system too. So Uranus is quite an exotic place, but it's really rather a long way from the Sun, so it's very hard to know much about it without space probes. And fortunately for us, the Voyager 2 probe took some very close-up images of this planet right back in 1986, and as a result we've learned a lot more about it from that. But as telescopes on Earth get better, we should find out a lot more in the years ahead. One of the odd things about Uranus is that it's a world that's tipped over on its side. Imagine that the Earth's axis wasn't tilted a little bit, 23.5 degrees as it is. It was like Uranus, 98 degrees. And it looks as though at some point in its past it went through a very violent event that literally knocked it right over. That means that if you were living on Uranus, not that that's possible to do, but if you were, you'd have a summer that would last 42 years. And at some point the sun would be directly overhead and then it would sink down. Very, very strange place. Very, very strange world. Very, very strange group of satellites around it. This planet is a long way from the sun. It's a very, very strange world. The fact that a planet is knocked over on its side makes it rather unusual. It's got its own retinue of exotic moons around it as well. Very interesting places to live. One of them has incredibly high cliffs, quite a place to go abseiling if ever you fancy that. But again, I don't think it's very likely that people will go there in the near future. It's simply too far away. It would take years and years to get there, and who's really willing to sign up for a 20-year round trip? So we'll probably have to content ourselves with building bigger telescopes on Earth and in space to study planets like Uranus from nearby, rather than travelling there too often.